also culturally, at least in our case, we never had those conversations with our parents. There was no conversation about, I don't remember my parents sitting down on a table talking about money. It was just, we don't talk about it. We pay the bills. Hey, at the end of the month, you still have a roof over your head. We did our job, period. There was no conversation. And so I think it's really important to also kind of give yourself a break and really understand, where did I learn these habits? It's really important to think about that.
Right. That's great that you said that. So my coach calls it programming.
Right.
And she said, hey, what kind of programming do you have when it comes to money? Fast spending, but then you're unhappy with the results, but you don't have any money in the bank. Everything fast, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing or it's going to give you the best result in the future.
Yeah, and I think to that point, it's important for people to also understand, we have our parents as a cautionary tale, and we love our parents. So don't get us where it's like they're bashing their parents. We're not. We're just understanding some of the issues that they went through, the sacrifices that they went through, but they didn't have anybody to teach them anything when it came to finances. So you realize at like 50, you're like, I have like 15 years to retire and I don't have anything. So how do I get there? That's too late. You have to kind of think about that as a younger person. And we see how difficult it's been for our parents. The notion of you worked all your life. You know what I mean? Like my father started working at the age of 7 in the Dominican Republic, because his parents didn't have anything. He's coming from, a background where he had no shoes until he was like 15, because he was able to buy them at that age. So that's kind of the sort of background that some of our parents are coming from. And so they didn't have this thought of, we're going to create like generational wealth, we're going to think about saving money. That was just not something that they even thought about. And so for us, it's kind of sad, like you worked all your life, and you have nothing to show for it. Like you don't have property, you don't have a lot of money in the bank, like there's nothing. And so we see that as, it's kind of unfair, and it's kind of like, it sucks. So we didn't want to do that. So I think that was part of the reason why we really started to see money and think about money in a different way. Because working is great, having an income, but everyone is like one paycheck away from being homeless.
Yeah.
If that's all you have. If you get, and it's not about, if you get sick and you don't have money in the bank and you have to be out of work for 6 months, do you have a plan for that? Like, what do you have for that? And so these are things that we kind of learned just seeing our parents' situation and seeing, wow, they don't have anything to show for these 50, 60 years worth of work.
Yeah, I think we were having this conversation the other day about, we see them as failures, not calling our parents failures, but we can see where they didn't really achieve and how they worked all their life. My father worked all his life, and then that wasn't so he didn't do anything. And it's not something that we were counting for as a family, like when we were inheriting money or we were inheriting a house or anything like that. But it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how much work you put into it. Working out 9 to 5, you really have to plan forward. Like he had, like you said, he was a veteran, and he had many opportunities to do zero down payment down. He had many benefits that this country provides, and just not looking for those benefits or
taking advantage
of those.
That's good that you mentioned that. As I hear you talking, you can have the benefits available to you, but if you're not ready to take advantage of it, it really doesn't matter. Again, it's not like you're blaming or bashing your parents. It's just that you learned from others' experience and you made a decision that you wanted it to be different for you and your children.
And I think, just to add a point to that, there is this sort of unspoken pressure to do better than your parents, because they did sacrifice so much. They did leave like their parents and their family and like just uprooted to this other country. And so you always feel like you don't, at the very least, if you can't like make things super better for them, at the very least you feel like, I don't want to burden my parents, because they already did what they had to do. So I don't want to depend on my parents, not because they wouldn't help. So my parents are great, by the way. We have great parents. If I end up in the street, my parents would absolutely help me. Do everything they can. But I don't want to end up in a situation where I have to put my parents in that sort of predicament. I want to make sure that I can take care of myself because they've already done the sacrifice for me.
Right.
I like that.
I
And
love
be able to help them when they need, if they need some help. So,
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
I love that you didn't, because we have a choice and we can decide that we're going to be victim and blame other people for our circumstances, or we're going to be victors and we're going to take our circumstances and use them as fuel to make a change. The key point here is for people that have become financially free, they have a strong sense of taking responsibility. They're not blaming others, regardless of whether other people did them wrong. They're not blaming others for what they have or don't have, but instead they figure out within themselves, like, what can I do to get better, or what can I learn from this situation? What did I do wrong? How can I make it better for me? So I think that's really important. That's very key to have that mindset of not being a victim, but instead being a victor and just moving forward.